A fine match here in the ASUS ROG 2021 European Server Qualifier. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, taking down Beyond to get to this qualifying match, our red Protoss player is MaxPax. Taking on the blue Zerg in the top right corner of the map, it is Serral from NC Sports. Alright guys, so getting this ready to go. Best of 3 PvZ. Winner plays in the ASUS ROG event. Should be a whole bundle of fun. Looking forward to it, actually. ASUS ROG should be a fantastic tournament the weekend after the DreamHack Season Finals happens. Like I say, should be a whole bunch of fun. And, yeah, ASUS was actually a fun event last year, too. Last year's ASUS was just amazing. And that was actually if I'm not mistaken, that was the first time MaxPax, like, really qualified into, like, a big tournament. You know, when these qualifiers happen, and, like, he just went through in the winner bracket. And I'm pretty sure that was, like, the first time he really qualified for, like, a really big event. Because he wasn't, I believe it was before he was able to qualify into DreamHack and stuff. That, or, I think maybe he qualified into DreamHack, and that was the big one, and then he qualified into ASUS too, and it was like, oh, that's just amazing. So I'm sure ASUS last year had some good memories for MaxPax as well, even if he did end up going out in the group stages. As you just see our Cybernetic score down on the natural, so pretty standard so far. Obviously, we do expect to kind of roughly know what MaxPax is going to play. He has been playing this double Stargate Void Ray style, and kind of expecting that to come on through here as well. I mean, it's just how he plays again and again and again. He did take a map off Serral last time they met in the DreamHack playoffs. Now, that was a 3-1 victory for Serral, an improvement on the time before, where Serral 3-0'd MaxPax. And a best of 3 is the upset possible? Absolutely. Yes, of course it is. Why the hell wouldn't it be? And it's just going to be seeing the probe heading back home after scouting around. No block on that natural hatchery, by the way, so that just gets to go down in position. You just see a couple of lings around the top, just hanging around a little bit. Yeah, ling speed coming through, and obviously there's the +1 air weapons. That's a very quick +1 air weapons, though. That's not even warp gate. So this is MaxPax even doing a build beyond what I have seen. So that is either a misclick, or it's like a super fast, like, +1 air weapons. No idea what else is going to happen. I mean, I guess we go Void Ray, obviously, but yeah, no warp gate is really wild. I mean, that obviously means we're going to play pretty much purely Stargates here. And I suppose that means we're going to be maybe a little bit tougher on trying to hold a third base or so. Obviously, yeah, I mean, it's just going to be really, really intriguing. It's tough as well, because for Serral, hard to tell the difference of that being warp gate versus +1 before this overload goes down. The real moment here from Serral will be when ling speed finishes. He needs to keep checking with Zerglings. He needs to see that there's no warp gate on the high ground, that it's still a gateway. That will be his telltale sign, as MaxPax is essentially just finding an even greedier way to set up into 2 Stargate Void Rays than what he already was doing in the past, which was already an extremely greedy version of it, because he wouldn't chrono boost his warp gate, he would chrono boost probes, get as many workers as possible as quickly as he could, and now he's not even getting warp gate, so absolutely zero reason to chrono boost it as well. Oh, we're going to build Phoenix. I was going to say, the +1 air weapons to me didn't as well make sense being so soon, just if we're going to play double Stargate Void. I was kind of wondering in the back of my mind, but I know he's so set on double Stargate Void Ray lately that obviously I was kind of just, you know, committed to it being that. But I should have stuck by my gut feeling, because I was going to say, like, it doesn't really, you'd have like 2 Void Rays with +1 air weapons, it doesn't do much. The +1 air weapons on the Phoenix, well, then Phoenix could actually be very annoying, and especially if Serral is expecting this to be like Void Rays, and then Phoenix show up and they can do a lot of damage harassing, there is going to be a lot of potential here, in fact. So this should get very fun very fast. As I do see these few lings all going to make their way down to the bottom left-hand corner as well. Void Ray with MaxPax still hanging around. A few lings going to start getting nibbled away at. Just going to be seeing another pylon up into the corner of the main base. Lings trying to come through. Adept and the Void Ray able to deflect those Lings for the moment still. So they will be pushed back. And yeah, we just see this lair about halfway done. We're going to be seeing these other couple Lings moving around. And just going to be seeing our few more Overlords and drones all popping up as well as our Phoenix will move to the top of the map. Away they go. Well, there's a Twilight Council behind this too. I love it that MaxPax is changing it up though, and especially in a best of 3, right? You can do something weird and get that 1-0 lead early. Well, you're already on match point, right? It's not like you do something weird and you still have to find other ways to win the best of 5. Yeah, I actually like this a lot. There's a couple of Queens going down. Overlord taking some hits here, and we will see MaxPax going to come through and go for a couple more Queen kills. Trying to bust through those a little bit. We'll lose a Phoenix though. Now, Serral obviously has already had a lot of Queens. He was already preparing for this to be something Stargate focused, so not much difference there. There's the Warp Gate on the follow-up. And like I say, we'll see if these Phoenix can do much else, but the Queens are defending really well so far. It's hard to say that MaxPax has really had a great time. I mean, losing the Phoenix, and just look at the health bars on these other Phoenix. 2 of them extremely low, 2 of them already damaged. I mean, it is a bit painful, and in that regard, I'm a little bit worried maybe, as this is nice, though, going to find some Queens a little bit kind of separated. Loses a Phoenix in the back there, as we will get one more Queen, so we don't actually, he disappears and doesn't commit. Probably saves himself a Phoenix because of it, though. Again, those Phoenix are low HP. They are hurting a little bit, and that might be one of MaxPax's bigger issues, because it will take away his ability to keep these Phoenix alive. Now, Serral says he's going to go Spire. There is going to be Void Rays behind this as well, so we have got those already started. But obviously there is an intention to play a ground army as Charge was coming through, that Temple Archives is coming up. So it's the Phoenix Harass into double Stargate Void, into the ground army along with those Void Rays. Just another kind of unique way of kind of getting to a somewhat familiar position that we've seen in the past. Yeah, a lot of double Stargate Void nowadays leads into the Robo and the Disruptors, and that's a lot of what MaxPax has been doing. But Charge Lord Archon, you know, beyond the double Stargate Void Ray is not unheard of. So, like I say, it's a quirky way of getting to a composition we have seen played previously. As the Queens come through, and that's a dead Phoenix, as MaxPax just not paying enough attention. Serral, I think, thought he was going to get it in one shot and then targeted another, but you know what? Worked out anyway. I mean, Roach is on the way up. It's hard to believe that Serral's going to be caught off guard by anything, right? I mean, he's got a lot of Roaches, he's got a good amount of Queens. I mean, his army's just decent against what's kind of coming through. Obviously, his 2 Archons up, they help a lot against the Roaches. The Immortal production helps a lot against the Roaches. I'm not worried for Serral if MaxPax tries to commit to this attack, though. You know, to me, that's just not going to work out at all. So, not immediately concerned. Clearing out a few more Creep Tumors, already picking away at those, and now pushing forwards. Roaches and Ravagers being chased back a little bit. So just being pushed back there. As we, well, I mean, that's the thing, right? You get pushed back, but you don't lose anything, so it's fine. Disruptors on the way up. Serral obviously eventually kind of getting up to the army, which will be very useful against the Voids and the Phoenix. Now we have the Robo-Bait coming through, so yeah, this initial kind of Immortal Archon force, but not for like a huge amount of time. There is intentions of this ending up being a, there's intention of this ending up being like Disruptors, you know, like as we have been seeing for a long time after double Stargate Voids. Yeah, just a very unique game. It feels like MaxPax is almost trying to, you know, take every possible twist and turn that he can. He's like, oh, can I do something different to usual? Yes, let's do it, and maybe hope Serral assumes a little bit more than usual. Let's hope he kind of just thinks he knows what's going on. Like I say, it's hard to say that Serral's being caught off guard, though. He's been pretty well prepped so far. Hasn't really lost much here or there, and he loses a Corrupted now simply for the fact that he made an attempt to Caustic Spray down the main base Nexus. Some Zealots here going to get caught as well, as these Roaches are still left behind, as now Serral's army is looking as though it's ready to push. This is a big moment. This 4th base has no stack defense on it, so if I'm MaxPax, I don't really want to fight here. That single battery is going to get overcharged. Obviously, that was seen from a mile away. Not a great fight for Serral, simply for the fact the Queens are so far back fighting Zealots. So, not all of the Queens are really here getting damage on the Void Rays, but so far it doesn't seem to matter as the Roaches push on through on the ground. And we are going to get on top of this Nexus on the left-hand side. Roach Ravager, Queen Corruptor, all joined up at the moment. Just going to see the rest of our probes going to pull away down to the south. It's the 4th base that's denied, and Serral will already sit and say, well, you know, to me, that's obviously very good news. As the Prism is just going to be hanging around toward the main base. So that's just going to be chilling out a little bit. Welcome everybody from the Zombie Grub stream. I assume we've also been casting, so I don't just assume, I know you guys have been watching some ASUS ROG qualifiers as well. Welcome, welcome. This is Serral MaxPax upper bracket qualifying match. Roach Ravager going to make a play into the bottom right corner and look to deny this Nexus. So another Nexus denial once again. Pylon goes down and these probes being chased. A few Phoenix still up overhead. They're going to lift a couple of future minions. They didn't put damage out themselves, but I guess they keep them there. Of course, here are the Disruptors. We didn't really get to see much of those until now. And maybe they can help MaxPax, who is struggling for 4th base, and that is going to be the story of this game. As long as he struggles for 4th base, Serral is going to feel rather comfortable. He's teching into a Greater Spire. He's got options to go Broodlords, and there's not a lot of like major air units here from MaxPax, obviously, so Broodlords would not be a bad choice in general. Serral might lose the 5th base, though. Not quite positioned to deal with this. Maybe not quite expecting MaxPax to be ready to push right there, and Disruptors are starting to get close to that clumped-up army. As obviously, this is a fairly choky area, you know? This is a choke Serral's trying to push through. Not the most narrow choke ever, but enough to clump the army up to give you good Disruptor shot potential. So you got to be very careful about how you fight this. Serral, as mentioned, not getting the 5th base. That makes up a little bit for MaxPax not getting the 4th. It makes it a little bit more manageable. It gives him a bit of a better chance of staying in this. There's a good Zealot attack top left. Actually took down 8 drones before the Queens get there to start defending it. Again, the Disruptors will continually force Serral back, keep him splitting. A few Banes do manage to connect, but it's on the front line of Mortals. Here come the Corruptors re-engaging in. They were pushed back a couple times. The Stalker's got to blink on top of them. With the Roach Ravager being pushed back, does MaxPax's army have potential? I gotta say, Serral's been great at avoiding the Disruptors. He's really not let a major Disruptor shot go off so far. On top of his army, yes, a couple have connected, but not to, like, you know, 5+ units. And that's been why Serral's been able to stabilize throughout this. A very scary fight from MaxPax, and he maintains a lot of his, you know, heavier tech units. Okay, Archons went down, a Disruptor and one Immortal. But he still has the Voids, he still has a good Disruptor count, so this isn't over yet. MaxPax will still be looking for that Disruptor shot to just offset the balance and to maybe make the scales weigh in his favor in this game. And if he doesn't make this happen now, he is at least now getting a 4th Nexus up while Serral is kept busy with this army, and so he has got more of a backup plan than what he once had. Yes, Serral might have a chance to deny that afterwards, but of course, you need it in the first place, so you got to take it, whether, you know, whatever Serral's going to do after. And he's taking it in fantastic style by putting so much pressure on with this army, and again, just accepting the dance back and forth. Here we go, another Disruptor shot. Splits away, actually, so not too big of a connection or anything there. We are going to be seeing the couple of Ravagers firing up there as well. Just saw some Ravager attacks flying as Disruptors coming through. Now a Disruptor caught in the front, going to get picked off. A little bit more Ling Bane is definitely helping, I think. There's not really a lot of, like, anti-Ling Bane. Like, a couple Archons, sure. But, like, Stalkers don't do great against Ling Bane, honestly. I mean, they do well against heavy Baneling counts, but if the Lings can wrap around them, then brilliant. I tell you what, MaxPax is still seemingly trading well enough. Just this constant back and forth has now put him into a supply lead in the game. Serral just never quite got the army he needed to fight this, apparently. I kind of like the Ling Bane coming through, but it didn't do enough either. And now MaxPax is in Serral's natural expansion. MaxPax in the natural of Serral. Serral trying to run some Roach Ravager forward. Another Stalker going down. The Spore Crawler on the natural getting picked off as well. A couple Overlords being picked away at 2. We do warp in a few High Templar, which will morph into Archons. That's a lot of drones going down here. 11 workers already picked off, and that number is rising. I mean, Serral's losing the natural. He's going to lose the main. I thought Serral doing this dance was going to be able to make it work in the end, but he was not. And MaxPax, he played a wonderfully weird game. You know, it was strange from the start. It was a bit unique. He was in some trouble, but he had this one army, and Serral just didn't quite have the answer. And like I said, if a Disruptor shot 2 had gone off better, I would have thought MaxPax could have done this. But Serral was really minimizing the Disruptor damage, but it just went on for so long. at some point you actually do need to push back against this and all the rest. By the way, he did cancel the 4th base of MaxPax during this at some point, so that's nice and all. Serral doesn't have a way to spend his money. He's missing a road thrower, and he doesn't have the hatcheries and the lava necessarily any longer. And the main base Stalkers are continuing to clear up. Just a couple left to clear out those drones. As, I mean, this army, the Stalkers just fling forward, and it still is a slow dance back and forth, but it looks as though MaxPax is making it happen. A few more corrosive biles, and a Stalker goes down, I think. I don't know if it blinked. Another disruptor shot. Queen's getting tagged up. Obviously, they can transfuse each other. I mean, you've got a main base that ain't doing anything, though, as Serral, so you're essentially on 2 bases here. Big disruptor shot lands on a couple of Ravagers, lands on some Queens. Again, transfusions being spent. Soon you won't have much Queen energy left to transfuse with, though. And that's when those disruptor shots are going to become more deadly. They're already landing on Ravagers. That's GG, and that's MaxPax taking the first game against Serral. GG's MaxPax. 1-0. As we have got in the top left-hand corner of the map, the red Protoss player from Storm Gaming. This is MaxPax, up 1-0 in the best of 3 qualifying match. He's 1 map away from going to ASUS ROG. And he pulled it off. In the bottom right-hand side, the blue Zerg player from ENCE Esports is Serral. First map loss of the day, in a game he was looking fairly comfortable in. And, yeah, it all ended up going a little bit haywire, a little bit wrong at the end. And MaxPax is able to go into match point. It's kind of crazy that qualifying matches are just best of 3, but in what's already a long qualifier, I also don't completely hate it personally. As we get ourselves an Overlord heading across to the upper left-hand side. Let's see what the heck Serral's going to bring out for Lightshare. I mean, I guess let's see what the heck MaxPax is going to bring out for Lightshare, because this was obviously already a pretty ridiculous first game in terms of build. I mean, kind of an outrageous build, in all honesty. That's really, really wild. Chat going wild, love it, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. 4,500 viewers. I don't know what. Well, I know what we did to deserve this. We casted several games. But I appreciate you all being here anyway. If you guys are looking for other streams, Roddy is now streaming this series as well, because I know some people might be here just because it's like Serral. If you'd rather listen to RoddyCast, then you'll obviously, the stream's up and running too. Just thought I'd let you guys know. He joined this for Game 2 because it's the only games left happening right now. Have you seen our probe coming around? Circling speed already building from Serral, just going to be seeing a few drones transferring down. And just going to be having ourselves a Twilight Council opening. So this time we do open very differently, of course. Now, I've seen Serral look very good against Twilight Councils the last couple days. He has not really been letting Adepts or anything do much against him. But is this maybe one of those times where maybe we see something else? With the gas already being 2 workers on each, it would not seem so. And of course, Serral just walks a link straight in to see the Twilight Council. Well, this happened earlier against DNS. He walked straight in, saw Twilight Council, and DNS killed 4 Zerglings with his 4-gate Adept attack. Let's see if MaxPax is... I mean, what MaxPax could do, I don't know if this was his intention, or maybe this could be an adjustment. He could just play like a 3-gate Claves. Oh, he's going to go Dark Shrine. It doesn't really make sense either, right? Of 2 workers in each gas? Because you have to wait a little while longer for the Dark Shrine than putting it down right away. But because Serral saw the Twilight and maybe saw the workers in gas, etc., it's very possible that he might misread this then as Glaives, because I think that absolutely maybe was the initial intention. But then, obviously, now you're kind of in a position where you put Dark Shrine down instead. You're going to take a 3rd Nexus too. Wow, a 340 3rd base. So MaxPax is just going outrageous here. He's going to go very greedy. And if Serral tries to kill him, because he sets up with Roachling, expecting Adepts, he'll have DTs, so you can't actually attack with Roachling until there's a lair, and then you'll obviously have Overseers. Just 2 extra depths warping in. Dark Shrine will be finishing soon. I was just going to be seeing our adepts hanging out the front of the third base, so far so good. Just going to see a few lings getting turned around. I'm just going to be seeing now a couple of Ravagers morphing too. These first adepts do get themselves caught. Now that's going to hurt. Not going to hurt as much as if it was actually the Glaives though. Serral, Spore already up on the third, building on the natural. 1 adept in the main, no Spore ready in the main, but MaxPax doesn't even really need to do damage, right? Because he's just got the third base so quickly. He's on 48 probes against 38 drones, and like I say, you can't just attack to punish the greed because you don't have a lair as Serral. I think the mind game has worked beautifully early game from MaxPax. I think it's worked really, really well for him. And I think he's set up into a great spot. This Archon morph. Okay, this is how you can do damage. First of all, DTs wouldn't be amazing against the Lings. But then the Archon obviously wasn't quite ready either. The Archon would have been better than the DTs, but at least the DT would have started firing right away. I mean, you lose a battery and a probe or two. I don't think it's the end of the world. Could have been much worse. Blink is coming through in the Twilight Council then. Bringing that up. I'm going to be seeing a Stalker focus mid-game now. I love that MaxPax has just completely brought a new style to this. You know, that gets me really excited for MaxPax in the season finals as well, because he actually turned down my invite to a tournament recently, which isn't very like MaxPax, you know. He usually plays anything and everything. I think he's been, like, really prepping some extra builds ready for the DreamHack season finals next week. And obviously this is a big tournament, so maybe worth bringing a few of them out here, because obviously it's a big qualifier. So, yeah, I love what we're seeing. Some real innovation from MaxPax rather than just, you know, what he's been doing for the past month and a half, 2 months, you know. Just going to see a 4th hatchery down on the 6 o'clock, so Serral just takes bases up a bit. MaxPax, full 3-base economy now. Mortal Archon well set up, on his way to Robo Bay. And Serral's actually going to play Roach Hydra into a Hive. Probably wants to think about, I mean, I guess Vipers are kind of in a... Do you go Vipers? I mean, Vipers can... It depends what... I guess it depends what MaxPax spells. Vipers can still be okay against Disruptors. Colossus, they're really good, obviously, because they can abduct in when Disruptors fire, or Colossi that want to stay in the back get brought forward. Okay, he's actually just going to go for a Lurk-down. That makes more sense, because I was going to say, I don't think I really like Roach Hydra in general. My brain was too slow to get to the idea of actually that, you know, this could be Lurkers, so... Lurkers makes sense. There's going to be this very tough minute or so where he's on his way to Lurkers, but he ain't there yet. And that's where MaxPax is already applying some pressure. Oh, MaxPax is going to go Colossus. I think I'd prefer to see Disruptors, especially when we get to the Lurker stage of this. We know Disruptors against Lurkers can be very good, of course, as a way to actually break up a Lurker siege and stuff, so... That would be my preference, of course. MaxPax, when you look at what he was playing against right now, Colossi aren't a bad thing, and honestly, Colossi also good against Lurkers too. And he's probably likely he gets, you know, Colossus up into a good count, and then, well, maybe not Disruptors. Maybe he'll actually go into those Templar Archives. Well, he is going to Templar Archives, but maybe he'll actually use that for Storm. He's obviously already got Archons coming off DTs. It is more effective to build them off of the Templar Archives and High Templars. So it might just be that, but maybe we see Storm as well as like a secondary splash damage. It's a little soon for it to be Storm right now, though, as that has a cancel on the 4th base. Nice from Serral being able to slow that down, as MaxPax on the top side is going to have a Prism. With these Archons still inside of it, just looking for openings, not really finding much. I mean, MaxPax really struggled for 4th base last game, and right now struggling again. Gonna see our hallucinations down the bottom of the map, and just gonna see our Prism pulling all the way back. Storm is on the way up. As that +2 attack is on the way on the Forge, so he actually did go Storm fairly quickly off the Temple Archives. I was just wondering, it just felt maybe a bit too soon while still building that Colossus counter, but I guess if you're not really looking to attack, you also can just put your resources into Storm rather than another round of units or something, you know? One thing that is very apparent in this game, though, is that Serral has been left alone. Creep spread is everywhere, so there is nowhere on the map untouched by creep. So in the first place, that's obviously pretty substantial. And that's going to make it life, you know, make MaxPax's life just that little tougher in general. So already launching an attack on that left-hand side. Roach Ravager going to start moving up. Up that left-hand side and maybe towards the front of the net. Do you have the Stalkers? Actually, maybe going to be able to find a Viper. Blinks in, doesn't get it. Oh, does get it with another shot. Cost him a Stalker, but I think we can say it's worth a Viper. Kills the Overseer. Is that to protect his Observer? I think it might have been to save the Observer. Oh, here's the Roach Ravager attack on the left side. So Serral going to move through with this. We saw against DNS, he had a lot of these counterattacks that just really caught the Protoss off guard. MaxPax has no vision on the left side of the map, so of course he's got no real way of seeing this easily. And that's brutal. He actually loses half of his warp into the pylon being killed, and now these Zealots moving through. And I gotta say, guys, those are some kind of slow Zealots. I was like, look, they're kind of going slow-mo. Of course, charge is still in production, so no charge just yet. And that just means a round of Zealots that really didn't do much at all. Stalkers get here. This is going to be cleaned up, but took a little while. You lose the Cyber Core. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough little situation. Damage taken from MaxPax as he does build a few more units up. He's about a half gravitic drive for prison speed. Not sure how much of a difference that makes. He's on his way to maxing. My only question really will be, as we do see actually Lurk is going to burrow here, and that's going to keep some of those units in that base, which is cute. That's going to make this a more difficult fight, though you can come from the right side too. But that's going to be when Serral's already setting up the next attack to the top. The army movement is beautiful. You know, MaxPax is pulled away to the left, and Serral is in position on the top side. Storm's here, though, so he does have some units left behind to protect this. Enough to save the base? Maybe, actually. He's buying himself time, at least. Now the Lurkers are going to move forward more aggressively. Zal's going to go for that. The Lurkers are going to force the abandoning of this Nexus to the top. And actually, MaxPax is just going to go across the map. So MaxPax just going to commit. It would be amazing if he could catch those Lurkers, because a higher Lurker count is only going to make life way more difficult when it comes to trying to win out in something kind of base trade-esque. There's a lot of Zealots, and army supplies are even going into this. Obviously, as you kill bases and stuff, Serral will maybe lose the potential to produce a little. MaxPax really needs to leave like a Zealot or two down there, actually finish that base off. It would be a real shame to miss that. Serral's just got all of his Lurkers back defensively. MaxPax didn't even kill a base. I mean, I'm not sure like killing that hatchery is the end of the world either, because obviously the top right of the map is underway as well, and that's mine. Here we go. MaxPax going to commit on through. Does he have just enough tech units to just power through the Lurkers? Initially, it looks like he might. A lot of those Lurkers going down. The Archon's coming through this. And MaxPax, I mean, you got to respect that pretty much every unit in this army right now is an Immortal, Archon, Templar, or Colossus. There's very few low-tech units. Oh my god, he's going to get on Serral's natural. Serral, are we in trouble? His army supply is down. He's got a bit of money to spend. Oh, he just lost an Observer. Okay, he's got 3 more. I was like, oh my god, the Observer! There's Lurkers! And it's like, there's 3 more Observers on the army. It's not the end of the world yet, but there's another one. So now only... Okay, sorry. There's still 3 Observers. There must have been 4 over here. Nice Abduct is going to hit well, and obviously Lurkers are going to force this army of MaxPax to turn around. MaxPax should... I feel like MaxPax is desperate to fight the army, but I mean, what if he just went to the main base? Serral's already rebuilding his tech. I mean, maybe that's why MaxPax just wants to fight the army. He doesn't see the value here, but this base should have never been mining still. This base could have been killed. He could have killed the Nat. Feels like MaxPax won't commit on anything. If he can force Serral into, like, this top side 2 bases, he's okay to be on 3. Just take a 4th base behind this, and you're probably alright. A Roach counterattack is making sure his 4th base is not coming up, though. So Serral doing what he did last game as well, as MaxPax was pushing on that top side. He did send units out to deny a 4th, and he'll do that once again now. MaxPax will come through to deny these 2 bases at least. At least he gets these 2. He's going to send Zealots to the natural as well. I mean, does Serral want to try and defend it? They're actually going to go all the way up into the main. Well, there's drones in the main. There's no drones on the natural. Maybe that's the main thing MaxPax is aiming at. These roaches saw no hatch on the 9 o'clock, so they come to the 12 o'clock instead. They do find the cancel there on a base they are looking for. And killing the Hydroden doesn't matter because Serral rebuilt that a long time ago. He was absolutely expecting MaxPax to move into the main. MaxPax now on a little bit less army supply than his opponent. Maybe that, like I say, maybe that is why he wanted to pull the trigger and commit a little bit earlier. Absolutely possible, as 19 drones dead. I mean, if MaxPax could just get a fourth, but the kill on a fourth is not easy. Those drones are obviously all out of position too. There's a lot of lurkers here, guys. We are talking about 20 lurkers on the map. The thing is, the lurkers are the only good thing against this Protoss army, though. Like, there's not much else. And MaxPax, he's got an okay army supply again. He's gonna go for this. No, where did the army go? I feel like this part of the army was meant to come around the bottom side, but then he's re-clicked it somewhere, like a different way. And now he's just moving all up one ramp, and that surely can't be good against lurkers. I mean, I much preferred it when he was going this way and this way, because then you're splitting the lurker damage and stuff. Even if he took his whole army and came in this way, because then a lot of the lurkers were up here. Obviously, maybe he couldn't quite see that. Hard to find out exactly where everything is at. He's going to back away now, but he lost so much trying to go through there. But he's probably weakened his army up enough that Serral can realistically come through this and just deal with it. I mean, there's a recall on a portion of the army, and it won't even catch those roaches. The roaches get out of there. Nexus cancel topside. Man, MaxPax played another very smart game, but Serral played some beautiful army movement in this game as well, and that's what really put MaxPax into a tough spot. Oh, the High Templar! Only one goes down somehow, and the Storms are actually okay. Lurkers forced back. I mean, this ain't over yet. Hive goes down in the main. Do we have a Hive elsewhere? We are morphing a lair. He actually started up 2 new Vipers, so he's already kind of, you know, saying, okay, I'm expecting my lair, you know, Hive to go down there. I'll get 2 more Vipers while I can. So that makes a lot of sense, of course. Still an attack on the left-hand side. Roach is countering. This Disruptor has just been shot and is not going to be able to stick around. MaxPax just doesn't quite have the army, does he? These lurkers look as though they are going to make it hold out in the end, as MaxPax is just going to fully commit in once again. He's going to try and just go for it, but it ain't happening, and everything is dying. GG. Serral will tie it up, and we're going to Game 3. Hell yeah, we are. Serral MaxPax continues into a final map. And in a game that MaxPax did get off to a very good start, and I really felt like all the tricks of the trade was really, I really felt like those a lot of the kind of the tricks that he pulled and the setup he got going was really cool. Like the entire initial build order was just fantastic. I felt like it was a mind game on a mind game, and it just all ended up going very well. MaxPax bottom left is our red Protoss player from Psystorm Gaming taking on the blue Zerg. Serral top right, Jack Natha. Game 3, winner qualifies to ASUS ROG 2021. Loser has got the lower bracket to fall back on, but boy, is it a stacked lower bracket. I believe this section of the lower bracket is, I've actually just gone onto the wrong Wikipedia page, but the section of the lower bracket these guys would drop into would be Skillus, Marine Lord, Drogo, and Vanya. But of course, you still have to go. You've got to play whoever comes out of Alaza, Estrella, Yun, Showtime, and Lambo on the bottom side half of that as well. Again, those best of threes will happen tomorrow, the lower bracket. Just a quick reminder that will be tomorrow's continuation of the European qualifier. So that's what's going to be coming up. Forge is coming down. We're going to triple pylon wall. Yes, we are. MaxPax going to bring it all in game number 3. Forge is coming through, and like I say, he's really bringing all the builds today. He ain't just doing what he's been doing for a good long while. Nuh-uh. He switched it up, and I actually love it because I really did think while his build was very good, it was becoming very predictable. We cancel the pylon's high ground. We are now walled at cannon on the low ground. There's very little surface area on that cannon, and that will probably get up here. And it covers the ramp as well. It's exposed from the high ground, mind you. Cancel on the hatchery from Serral. He will take his hatchery over to the 3rd base instead. So he's just going to pop that down over on that left-hand side. And now a Roach Roaring is going to be building up too. So getting that Roach Roaring behind the main. And just going to be seeing ourselves getting established. Oh, I mean, we got the Cyber Core going to be finished in a moment or two. Got that one probe coming up this round. A couple of Lings are going to be sat there. What else do we do? We're just building a Nexus, so it's not going to be that crazy. As the Roach Roaring comes up from Serral, he can break down this cannon. Does he take it across the map for anything extra? If he does, he's probably going to run headfirst into a Stargate, because I do think that will be what MaxPax builds next. He's actually going to build a battery on this cannon. But as soon as you lose high ground vision here, this is not really that good for you anymore, right? Because then the cannon can't shoot up. I think I'd just like to see him cancel this battery, because you can just... It doesn't matter if there's a battery or not. Like, it might buy you a bit more time, I guess? Maybe that's what he wants, more time for his Stargate to build, so he feels like the battery is a worthwhile investment, because it will just take a little longer to clean up in this way, and a little longer is fine on his half. Like I say, you won't take any damage clearing this out now, apart from if the probe comes up. Well, okay, I tell a lie. Sorry. The Adept is here, so you can actually bring the Adept in for high ground vision, which can also be batteried. And he's actually able to keep doing some damage now. The Ravager's morphing, bit of extra range. Corrosive Biles, obviously, very good at clearing up positions like this. There are two Ravagers finishing. Couple of Biles go down. That's going to hit nicely onto the battery and the cannon and the pylon. I mean, just very well placed Biles right there. Can't say anything other than that. And more Biles. That pylon's still taking some hits. The Serral does not have to contend with high ground vision now, and that is the cleanup. Took a little while, and now an Adept on the third base, trying to be annoying as well. These drones, nice. Spore Crawler morph, last second save. As the two Ravagers actually dead. You know what, scrap the natural, let the Lings and Queen deal with that. Let's go clean up these Adepts that are being annoying, and they do clean those up with relative ease. So that is obviously good to see as well. An Oracle is building as we got a couple of Overlords up and running too. Natural Hatchery is going to start building right now. And Serral gets set up onto his 3-base economy. 33 drones or 33 probes. And that kind of, to me, says that MaxPax is maybe not quite done enough here. Usually when you're talking about probes and drones, 37, 38 is the magical number for the Zerg kind of catching up. This is obviously going to be a little bit earlier this time, so still a little advantage Serral, I would say, compared to a regular game. Obviously, MaxPax is completely techless right now as well, so he doesn't have... I mean, he's got the Stargate and the Oracle, but he doesn't have, like, the Twilight coming up or anything. All of his tech is delayed, is what I should say. He's not techless, it's just delayed. What he does have to work with is, you know, that Queen was smart to keep moving there. Nearly got in range. He did hesitate for a slight moment. Maybe that cost him a shot, but he probably needed 2 shots to truly get the kill anyway. Oh, Resonating Glaives in the follow-up. Oh, I don't know if I like that at all. The problem with Glaives here is that it's just so late. You're going to be talking about 6:30. Glaives is done. I mean, Serral by then, he'll have his lair done when Glaives is done. He'll have Ling Speed done too. Obviously, that's something he did skip earlier because of the faster Roaches initially. And he's going to be able to get like 55 drones and then build units against this. The good news, I suppose, is that Serral doesn't have information. You know, he's very blind as to what the follow-up is because he doesn't have the he doesn't have the Overlords anymore. The Void Ray cleaned those out. So in that regard, Serral's a little bit blind, doesn't maybe know exactly what's going on. Yeah, 55 drones. He's going to go for a few more. Still not building units, but I mean, I don't even think he has to cut units right now. It's just... I thought 55 was my guess as what he could go to. I think he's actually still going to be fine. 9 Adepts. Lings do see the couple of Adepts there, but that's not really too telling. Where are all of the Adepts? They're just split everywhere. There's a lot of them in the main base. Okay, well, let's see what these can do. Astonish it across. Serral's now going towards almost 70 drones. He needs to see these Adepts. He sees them. Zergling scouting consistently is going to give Serral a good chunk of information. Serral's supply blocked, guys! Oh no, Serral's in a bit of trouble. He's got a lot of Queens, but he's got no other units. 3 Void Rays, and all of these Adepts are showing up right now. Glaives is done, and Serral can't build anything to help. What a horrible time to not have Overlords in production. And his next Overlord is still only halfway done. Look, the Depths do start a fight. Obviously, he did have the 2 Ravagers, a Roach, and a couple Lings from earlier. The Voids are going to come back in to fight this as well. The Queen's doing great, zoning the Voids. A Stasis Ward hit some drones as well as all of this was going on. MaxPax, keep these Adepts moving around. I really think you've got a success story on the way here. I feel like there's a lot you can do as he shades back in the natural. He's going to hit Queens. That's a few shots on Queens. That could have been just a couple extra drones maybe still. Serral's going to defend, only losing 5 workers. This was concerning though for sure as 1 Void Ray goes down, 2. Nice pick off for Serral. Man, I was so sure Serral was going to be in more trouble here. Obviously, MaxPax has a good worker count behind it as well, etc., etc. But obviously, a lot of Adepts that went down and honestly didn't even like force too much lost mining time. Serral didn't even have to like pull drones around. I don't know what this Oracle is, but that's a miss rally if I've ever seen one. Obviously, 8 ain't just meant to rally in there and stand above a Queen. Absolutely not. So, unfortunately, that is also a mistake. Voids up the left-hand side. Gonna activate onto a couple of Queens. Queen's taking some damage. We do see the Ling's gonna be running back from the couple of Adepts to just clearing out of there. And all of those Void Rays into the center of the map. Flux Veins on the way in. And the game will settle down as Serral is actually about to finish up his hive. Is it just me? Am I crazy? I really felt like Serral was meant to take more damage there. I really felt he was meant to take more damage. Maybe the Void shouldn't have joined up at the front. I mean, hindsight is everything, right? I'm sure we could look back on that and find a better way to execute, but again, that's the easy part. Is just going to be seeing the Queens coming around. Void's going to put some damage on. Well, a few drones going down somewhere. Sorry, I think that's the Adepts that I just lost track of a little bit. Oh, still drones going down. It's top left side. Sorry, I missed those Adepts. Apologies, I was looking everywhere. Apparently my eyesight is bad. Greatest Spire coming through. That's what's crazy. Like, Serral right now is actually attacking like a madman. The Greatest Spire is so quick, although I don't know if you can really get away with the Greatest Spire. There's still a lot of Voids on the map. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Queens are all in the main base. Vipers are out of position. That's a dead 4th base. Serral just lost his 4th hatchery. Instant recall as well from MaxPax. He's not going to get greedy. He knows it ain't long until units show up that can fight those. So he says, yeah, I'm just out of here. And Tempest on the way from MaxPax. So he's actually going to be well set up against Broodlords. Well, Serral missing a 4th base is pretty substantial, but the 5th isn't too far away as a replacement. So I'm not going to say it's end of the world territory, because like I say, replacement is somewhat close to being ready. It's a lot of Void Rays, so obviously you're not going to do anything on the offensive without the Queens joining you, but those Queens don't seem to have any intention of moving across the map themselves. A lot of Lings in the main, 2 more Tempests popping out, obviously. What will be really interesting, I said obviously a lot today, sorry. What will be really interesting is if these Tempests don't actually have anything to really help against. Like, Tempests will always help, but are they the most useful unit to have built? Well, in certain scenarios, absolutely not. Super Battery goes down to try and save these High Templar. Lings have too good of a surround. Ooh, he just let one of them away. There's a lot of Lings to give up, though, as well. So Serral, it's an enticing jump, right? I mean, it's a good set of units to pick off, but you only got 2. It was a lot of Zerglings. Serral has got a lot of gas in the bank, so supplies get close together. That's something to watch for, how he spends that gas and the fact that that's already mined in the bank, ready to go. I'm concerned because we've seen MaxPax multiple times in this series now turn a game into one big push that goes very well for him. And while he doesn't have that same kind of ground force he's had in those previous games, until Serral gets like comfortably maxed out with bank ready to go, I feel like I'm always going to be a little bit concerned because it felt like Serral had previous games under control and it all went to, it all went a little bit tits up. So what's to say this one might not do the same? It's a tense game, guys. Big moment because the lower bracket is not easy, especially big for MaxPax, I think. Serral, probably favored against everyone in the lower bracket, or at least most players in the lower bracket, a fair amount at least. MaxPax, maybe not favored against everyone, a lot more 50-50 matchups there. So massive for MaxPax if he could qualify now and avoid dropping to the lower bracket and playing tomorrow. Obviously, Serral would probably like to not play tomorrow as well, though, so... I obviously, if you put one of these two in the lower bracket, I much more expect Serral to maybe come out on top. Or I have less doubt about Serral coming through than I do about MaxPax, you know? Of course, American server qualifier is still available too, but that will be through the night for European start, and I believe like 2 a.m. So it's going to be a little bit brutal. Anyways, enough of that. This game's ongoing, and here come the Ultras. So 5th base will be denied. That's a great starting disruptor shot. Obviously, Queens will just mass transfuse each other up. There's a microbial shroud. We've been seeing a heck of a lot of that lately, helping out these Queens and just units in general against these kind of pushes. A couple of infests, a couple of shrouds seem to go a long way. Denying that air damage is pretty serious business. So going to try and rotate some of his army down the right. The Queens obviously don't want to stray off creep. I mean, Ultras, bit SimCity here. Probes are long distancing, but actually that base isn't even started yet. It's just now building. Just going to come through, take down a few cannons and so on. That's always a nice little way to break open a base a little, but there's still cannons left, so it's not going to be an immediate problem for MaxPax. I'm going to get a few shots off as Serral loses a Viper that I don't believe got a cast off either, so full energy Viper will fall. Still moving some Ultra Ravager back to the left. He really just wants to keep a 5th base from coming up more than anything. That is Serral's plan at the moment, wants to keep that Protoss economy as low as possible. Storm's coming down. Fungals do drop on the carriers. The Queen's trying to get forward, but Disruptor shot will kill. I mean, Disruptors don't care about Microbial Shroud. Serral's supply is dropping, and honestly dropping quite a lot as the carriers will continue to go down. It's a lot of damage being... carriers will continue to go through this army. The Queens continue to go down, and it's a lot of damage being done by MaxPax. He's moving across the map. Serral on a massive rebuild. Vipers that won't have energy right away. Corruptors that have got a lot of voids to compete with. This last fight was not good for Serral. You can see how much he dropped and had to rebuild, while MaxPax's supply didn't really move a whole bunch. So MaxPax confident to move forward. Where did those files come from? My goodness. Well, I do have the bright side base going to go down. Serral, and a few Ravagers here, just going to find a bunch of cannons that obviously they don't really want to be up against. Serral really needs to try and find a way to get his units all together without them kind of flying through different bits and pieces. He's morphing some Broodlords. Realizes he isn't going to have the time for that. He obviously wants the Broodlords to help zone the ground army so he can keep his Queens and Ultras a little bit better alive, because the Broodlings should take the brunt of the damage if that was to happen. But obviously not being allowed to happen. Good abducts, but you don't have time to do that forever. This is not the game where you have the luxury of just abducting one unit, energy and up, abducting another. Absolutely not. MaxPax is here, and he's here right now. Another base of Serral is going to fall. I tell you what, MaxPax has a heck of a bank behind this as well. 3k, 1k. MaxPax might be doing this, everybody. Serral might be down in that lower bracket as this air army has not been dying. It feels like Serral has less tools than ever before. He's got no infestors left. I guess he doesn't need them as much with less Queens on the map, though. 11 Voids. If he can get through the 11 Void Rays, the carriers and Tempest count isn't really super crazy. 11 Voids are absolutely the issue. I mean, if they prop Prismatic, then these Corruptors are going to melt. Here we go. He's going to try, and I think he's trying to use the Ultras as a little bit of a bait. Trying to get some more Viper energy. What does he abduct? I really think the better abduct is genuinely going to be on the... I think maybe the Void Rays, right? Because the Void Rays, to me, are the biggest issue. Serral is running into his main to defend, as Zealots are in the top left to 9. He only has one base left, Serral. MaxPax can rebuild off of this too. I mean, there's just no way this works, right? Here we go. Storm coming down. Serral's still trying to find a fight. Serral basically hasn't dealt damage to this army of MaxPax in like a 2-minute chase. Finally, he commits in, but I mean, Parasitic Bombs ain't gonna do that much. Can the Corruptors somehow find a way? Even if they do, does it even matter? I don't think so. MaxPax is moments away from qualifying to ASUS ROG 2021, knocking Serral to the lower bracket. MaxPax will win it 2-1 in an intense series, and what a win that is for MaxPax. Huge win for him. GG's. MaxPax 2-1.